Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Associated Guess. I, as always, am your host, Alfie Animus, here at the Bear in Mind channel. Today, a few things. We're going to get Crowder's back. I know I kind of lean heavy on Crowder, but he's funny. And I don't know, he's one of the more based Republicans. So, when he has something interesting, I tend to put it out. Um, And then Ben Shapiro had a couple interesting ones. The moral case for the free market. I actually pre-watched this one. It's actually pretty compelling, and it pretty well for such a short video explains the difference between crony capitalism, free market capitalism, and then what the left actually sees it as, which is basically corporatized crony capitalism. We'll get a couple previews for some things that are interesting. One that I just think is funny. We'll get into some AI virtue signaling with Rev Says Desu. And I guess Leaflet and Banana Juju have faced some hot water from a bunch of chuds online. But without further ado, let's get into it.
If women ruled the world and we...
I'm preparing for. You know, white people shouldn't run the world. Men would make these endeavors simpler than a group of men. Hey, you know, white people shouldn't run the world. It's white supremacy. You know what else? Men shouldn't run the world because we'd be better off if men were in charge of, specifically white men, right? That's the message that you're hearing across the board. Here's a fighter from the UFC, Ian Gary, making it known that the world would be better off if it were exclusively run by women, but it's not sex.
I bet one of two things happened. Either this guy had really stupid takes, so he had to learn how to fight to keep people from kicking his ass for being a retard, or he's been overcome with vagine since he's become famous, and it's kind of sucked the thought process out of him. And I really wish I hadn't made that noise just then. And he's basically just doing things because all the women who are around him are basically demanding or implying that they won't give him the naughty bits anymore if he doesn't follow a certain path. Which happens a lot in quote-unquote intellectual circles, which just goes to show you, and I hate to agree with Myron Gaines, because he said something on X that I actually agreed with. Again, a broken clock is correct twice a day. He was commenting on was it Angel Reese, saying no matter how talented someone is, if they're a female and they're famous, they will always resort to just sharing their body with the entire world because reasons. And let's be fair, and I don't like to grade women on a scale, but can we stop pretending that female athletes are anything more than sixes at best? Again, who cares what someone looks like? Her attitude's what's really ugly. The fact that she looks like Sid the Sloth doesn't really have anything to do with anything. But I just, it's gross. Like, have any kind of love for yourself and for anyone you might be seeing. But anyway, continuing.
Any smart man in the world should look at his wife and know that that's the person I need to listen to. Like, if the world was run by women,
smart.
we'd all live in a better world. Like, it would all be simpler and easier. That's the fact of the matter. Whether you want to agree with it or not, or you think whatever it is, if women will...
If you've ever had a conversation with a woman, you know it's not ever simple, especially with leftists. They always make sure that they complicate things to the highest extent so that they can have something to talk about.
The world, and we just listen to them and let them take over, it would be an easier world.
Okay, simpler and easier. I wanted us to do a...
Here, more like her.
This is a man who hyphenated his last name with his wife's. This is a man whose nutritionist is his wife's ex-husband, and they all travel the world together. And allegedly...
Bro.
At one point, they lived together. They spent a lot of time. It's a weird setup, and he defended...
And again, like I said, I don't care how people live their lives, how they want to live. But, bro, consider the space you're in, man. Good morning, shapeshifter.
it until they said that's not really what happened. So of course he has to do exactly what she tells him, and he would hyphenate his name that way. But let's go through this. Simpler and easier. Look, I think that women obviously are better at quite a few things than men. Simplifying, streamlining, making things more efficient. Let's go through getting ready to go out, okay? General social functions, preparing for work, meetings at work. Tell me one example where a group of
I agree. Yes, Yanuka in the chat on Kick. Gymnastics girls can be 9, 8, and even 10 until you take their shoes off. And then, my God, like what they've done to their poor feet. Like I very much admire and honestly, not just because of the outfits, like a lot of guys do. I find gymnasts to be interesting to watch. YouTube didn't let me write what I wanted, so I wrote it on Kick. Fair enough. Okay, sorry, Angie. Yes, of course. Hi, Angie. You can call me Alfie or Baron, whatever you like. Just as long as you call.
women would make these endeavors.
But no, gymnasts, and again, just like the women of the UFC, like, yes, a lot of them are very beautiful. Gina Carano is very beautiful. Some people like Ronda Rousey. It's never why I watch the sport. It's because they're actually really, really good fighters.
Simpler than a group of men. Any of them. That's the whole thing. The whole joke about men is you're just so simple, right? All they want is sex and a sandwich. Whereas this is the premise for stand-up comedy. The difference between men and women. Yeah. It would be simpler and it would be easier. What would be easier? Of course, by the way, this is just an old trope that people use. We've had women in charge. This idea that we have not had women in charge is silly. And the reason that women are often not in charge is because it hasn't gone well. In many cases, unfettered cruelty. So you had Mary, numero uno of England, burned 280 Protestants during her reign just for being Protestant.
Yeah, smelly.
You have Queen Ranavalona of Madagascar, killed 2.5 million of her own people through forced labor. You had Indira Gandhi.
By the way, for those that know this, I used to date a Malagasy girl, which is what the Madagascar people from Madagascar call themselves, Malagasy. They really hate mainland Africans. So yeah, a lot of hatred having to do with Madagascar. It's not all just fun talking animals. It's actually kind of crazy.
Ruled India under martial law from 75 to 77 rather than face removal for the alleged corruption, sterilized millions of Indians under the cover of martial law. You know, simpler, easier. Also, I will say a big swing and a miss when she didn't catch this guy for sterilization.
ถึงแม้ว่าร่างกายของเขาจะพิการแต่เขาก็ไม่เคยยอมแพ้หรือท้อถอยต่อโชคชะตาของชีวิตเลยแม้แต่น้อยเขายังคง
Oh, that's gross. Ah, the old pit patty.
Yeah, the old pit patty.
I went to school with Pit Patty.
And what do you expect?
All cultures are equal.
What's New York missing?
There you go. More of that.
They got everything except for pit patties.
It starts with eating your bowl of rice with your fingers, and you end up with pit patties on every corner.
I mean, at least they don't make ass burgers like Cartman does.
They don't have the regulations.
And they do have hands. I don't know why they do them.
I mean, people will then say it's chauvinism, or people will say that if you say, like, I think that men are generally more efficient, like men generally will find the fastest path.
Look for more in Yanuka on YouTube. He's my brother. Really? Okay.
Toward their goal. That's what men have to do. It's just the difference of sexes, right? We're usually, historically, we've been hunters, gatherers. We've had to be in that pressure cooker. We've had to be in high-stress scenarios. That's why men have better reaction time. By the way, that's one of the biggest differences in sports. Women are more social. Women are more comforting. Women are able to communicate, converse in a way that is more agreeable, less offensive. The idea, though, that women would make things simpler, this is just, let's just say all the good things about women, and just bad stuff about men. And people say, sure.
Exactly, and it's also not biblical either. And I want to bring things back to that, because it's like you can have this worldview, you can try to pull from all these different areas and try to make this case somehow that women would be better as leaders than men. And you just have to remember, like, we're not designed that way.
Right.
The designer said this is how it will work best. You guys can do what you want, but I'm guaranteeing you're not going to like the results.
Right.
And I don't want to take advice from a guy like that anyway, so it works out.
No one ever just, defend that blanket statement.
No.
The world would be better off. Why?
Yeah.
You know, there'd be no wars. There were wars when women were in charge. There'd be no death. There was plenty of death. There was plenty of murder. There was plenty of unfettered cruelty. Everything would be efficient. Have you seen your wife's walk-in closet? What makes you think that it would be more efficient?
Yeah.
Well, he didn't. I don't know if he said
That
more
is
efficient.
true.
He did say simpler though.
Simpler and easier.
Things would be much simpler. Yeah. Without
I
electricity,
think things would be
everything's
much simpler.
Yes. Well,
Yeah, without plumbing, yeah, it's simple. Go outside, squat. There you go.
there you go.
Black people would be considered more on time because everyone would be late.
That's true.
So there you go.
That's true. It's the new era.
Wait, what?
Latina woman, get used to it. Nothing's on time.
Aye, and the only good woman king that there ever were was made up by white women for that movie. They made them seem like the heroes, as white women tend to do. Sorry, liberal white women tend to do. When in reality, they were the ones that were enslaving people and gathering them and selling them to the white people.
That
True story.
That seems personal.
True man knows it's a thing. They'll just be like, it's just a thing. It's like an entire continent has a thing. Oh, you're still here.
Real quick. Guys, don't engage Dr. Rita Dead. This is a troll to the same level of Evan Loves Worf unless you just need content. But people who say things like this, we need centaurs. I'm sure she means senators, like her in power. I've had enough straight old white men running things. Okay, that's fine. It's a little broad, which I would expect from someone as such. But this person doesn't specify any actual political leanings or ideas or thoughts at all. And that's the main argument I have, and it kind of fits with what Crowder was talking about to the whole women thing. It would be nice to have more people, more women, more intelligent women who were interested in being in the government or in charge of Fortune 500 companies or any of these things. But like Jordan Peterson used to make very clear, it's a small percentage of people in general who can even actually do this kind of thing. And the bad thing about, and the reason why most women don't do these kinds of things is because a lot of them eventually want kids. And the amount of time that you have to put into these companies doesn't really leave any time for family. Just look at Elon Musk. He doesn't have a lot of time for his family, and I mean, look how that's going for some people. But but no, just wanting someone who's trans or black or Hispanic or white or a female or whatever to be in a position of power, that's great. It's something that you, if you're one of those things, can strive to do. But you have to read a book. You have to do something towards that. And preferably start off small in that direction. You know, start with municipal and then work your way up. The thing was, a lot of people these days, they go to school and they get liberal arts degrees so that they become activists so that other people can do all the things that they want people, that they feel people should do, but never actually did themselves. This is what we call retarded people, and used to be my main friend group. Again, I'm a recovering retard, recovering liberal retard. Not a conservative. I don't think I'll ever consider myself to be so, but I have a kinship with them right now because I too think that the left is out of its fucking gourd. Moving on.
Bruce Wayne, a boy of privilege.
I really want this to do well. I want it to be good. I hope it doesn't go the way of the Killing Joke, to where they added a bunch of gratuitous, like a gratuitous sex scene between Batman and Batgirl for no fucking reason.
A boy of tragedy. I know what you'd play at during the night. Bat.
Actual Bane. It's not going to be like, yes, you're the Batman.
Men.
It doesn't matter who we are.
Slept since Arkham exploded 2 days ago.
I will rest when everyone that's escaped is captured.
This is a really awesome story, and one of the best parts about it is it has a lot of the main Batman villains that, unless you read all the comics or watched Batman the Animated Series in the 90s, you have no idea who the fuck they are. But if you do know who they are, it's kind of awesome.
Maybe we should ask John Paul for help.
He's a bomb that needs to be defused. How can I live knowing there's something inside of me that can do such harm?
Your hero, Commissioner? Stop! He's losing control.
I'm fine.
He's fine. It's just bleeding from my face right now. It's kind of funny how black people were the first Homo sapiens and white people. Well, I mean, to be fair, other black people enslaved them and then sold them to white people. But, you know, these two existed. Let them... Let's have a fuck. What? What? Jesus.
Something else is going on out there. A riddle I haven't found the answer to.
You are a survivor, which means
You're a forgiver. You're gonna go stop. You're gonna work harder.
Bane.
Yes. It doesn't matter who Bane is.
Of this city begins.
Was that Firefly? Is that what Mr. Freeze is gonna look like in this? Crazy. It's going to be a trilogy. Okay, so I imagine the first one's going to be the breaking of the bat. The second one is going to be that crazy religious zealot becoming more advanced Batman, quote unquote. And then the third one's going to be Batman taking back the mantle. Because those are all pretty solid storylines in and of themselves. Mad Hatter's insane. Got to pause every couple of seconds because Warner Brothers.
From the people close to you, but you.
That's basically what the directors of Killing Jokes. I mean, oh yeah, for Batman and Batgirl. I mean, yeah, and it was weird. Like, I think they thought that it would enhance the plot somehow by making it mean more when she became crippled or something. But it really just did that thing that the left always says that they shouldn't do, and it kind of demeaned Batgirl and made Batman look like a lecherous, like, something awful.
You cannot hide.
Like a groomer?
Destiny. You are the weakness that drowns Gotham. I intend to break you.
I will break you.
Then give it your best shot. Good.
I appreciate you for showing probably the last fight in this part one in the preview. Well done, Warner Brothers. I mean, a lot of us know what this whole thing is, and we just want to see it. And yeah, see, exactly. That, and then that. That's basically, yeah, that's how the whole comic book series was. See, I'm not a genius. I just remembered the thing and forgot that I remembered it.
Folks, I understand that Republicans are worried about the midterms. It is indeed imperative that Republicans win. Meanwhile, the Democratic Socialists of America are eating the Democratic Party whole. They're showing no signs of stopping. So here is my pitch on how Republicans can win against the DSA, not only in 2026, but well beyond. We actually have to focus on defending free markets, but in a different way. If we do, we'll win. And if we don't, well, President AOC is not a distant possibility.
And that's true. And that thought should terrify absolutely all of us.
So, Speaker Mike Johnson, yesterday, he was talking about the war in Iran. And he says that we need to wrap up the war in Iran. By the way, I agree that we need to wrap up the war in Iran. We need to wrap it up in a good way by defeating and destroying the Iranian capacity over the Strait of Hormuz and ending their nuclear program. That's what we need to do.
100%.
And we should have done that fast. We should have done it hard. We should not be doing this kind of...
We should have done it the way that we thought we did. And the fact that, look, I admire and I sympathize with people who want to do this the peaceful way. It never should have really got to this point, and if presidents past had done their jobs, we wouldn't have had to do this now. But, here we are. And Trump should have stuck with his gut. Hegseth should have stuck with his gut. Again, I like J.D. Vance for the most part. But him wanting to do the establishment Republican Party thing worries me so.
Graduated escalation routine, as I talked about yesterday on the show. It's a dumb move. Okay, but Speaker Johnson wants this to wrap up because he would like for gas prices to go down before the midterms.
look, I think it's important for all of our international partners, this is my personal view, to have a role in this. I mean, we've got all of our allied nations through NATO. We've got the Arab countries over there, the Gulf states that are in closest proximity to Iran. Iran is now fired on all of its neighbors, and they're turning everybody in the world into an enemy. And I think this is an important moment of history for all of the world community to decide how they want to handle this. It shouldn't just be America's obligation. My view is that everybody needs to play a role. So we'll see how that develops. I think we have to allow the space to do that. And I know that this administration is working around the clock to resolve that in a way so that we don't suffer any more troop losses. This is a great tragedy. It shouldn't happen. But it is a very important objective that I believe we've achieved to ensure that the largest sponsor of state of terrorism does not have a nuclear weapon. That would be a disaster for everybody, and everybody around the world understands that. Now we got to wrap it up.
Okay, so we got to wrap it up is the thing people are glomming onto. Now, again, I agree we need to wrap it up, and I'll talk in a little bit about how we ought to go about wrapping it up. But I think that Republicans should be pretty clear about something. And when it comes to the generic congressional vote, Republicans have had a problem since Liberation Day. You want to talk about affordability? It really started with Liberation Day and the tariffs. Since literally that day, Republicans have been trailing in the Real Clear Politics generic congressional average every day since Liberation Day, every single day. And the margin of Republican defeat here, of potential Republican defeat, has been essentially the same since January. So nothing has actually changed due to the Iran war. And now, would changing the affordability concerns change
I'm looking for a
probably.
shapeshifter.
But if you wish to defeat the DSA long term, then you need to do something else. And that is not just make things slightly more affordable. You need to actively make the case as to why the DSA is wrong. You have to make the case, in other words, for free market capitalism. This is what the Republican Party has to do going forward. When you're online, the truth is you're not spending all that much time actually to agree. Well, this is why I'm a licensed insurance.
I don't care, Shapiro.
So when people say affordability, let's talk about affordability for a second in a real way. When people say affordability, as I've said before, they...
Sorry. And like I used to enjoy Ben Shapiro's ads, and I understand he's a bigger company, part of a bigger company now or whatever, or he's got to spend his time better. But I miss the old segues. And honestly, about that time is when I started kind of falling off of any kind of watching his show with any kind of regularity. Because he was the king of segue. And now he just has a quick cut. And then he has that cringe thing at the end. What an amazing video you just watched. Aren't I awesome?
Just mean things cost too much for me. I'm not making enough money. I have yet to meet anyone on planet Earth who believes that things don't cost too much money and they're making enough money. That's true for pretty much everybody. Obviously, it's more true objectively for some than for others. However, when it comes to affordability, the problem for Republicans, and this is what I see for Republicans going forward, is they keep trying to outbid Democrats on government interventionism in the economy. And the DSA will say affordability and then propose nationalization. And the right will say, no, our response is just partial nationalization. Okay, let's be clear. When it comes to affordability, there are basically 4 issues that affordability means.
Well, and before he gets to that, a lot of the reason that Republicans used to lose, one is because they've always referred to Republicans as Nazis. I did it myself back in the day, once, and then I really thought about it, and then I was like, wait, they're not Nazis. They're just conservative. They just see things differently than I do. And back then, people were actually assholes to gay people and the whole bit, but that's not the case anymore. I mean, those people do exist, but for the most part, the right has tolerated all of the things that the left does, and the left will just find reasons to bitch about it. Like all my friends, like my gay friends used to ask me, and I've never been particularly religious, but since I've been to church, they would ask me things like, do you think homosexuality is a sin? And I would say, I mean, it is. But all things that people find enjoyable to do, who people think are fun and exciting, are sinful. What's that got to do with anything? Like, why do you care? You're not a Christian. Are you trying to go to church? Are you trying to not feel bad about church? Like, what's going on here? And that's one of the biggest things, is that if you inherently think that people are just against you all the time and this making yourself a victim, like people love to be a victim because they like the attention, but at the same time they don't like the negative stigma that comes with the thing that they've used to victimize themselves. So they get all caught up in this feeling of how they like this feeling, but they don't like that feeling. It's like drugs. It really is. And I've seen my friends go down this path to where they'll do anything to fit in. Straight up to where they don't tell their friends that they're being crazy, insane people when they suggest that maybe we should, go out and beat up Republicans and do all the things that we think that they do to us, or that we think they want to do to us, and just get them before they get us. This is like the thought process that they go off of. It's crazy, drug-addled behavior.
There are 4 issues affordability means, and Republicans need to take on them all. This is where the momentum for the Democrats is coming from on the affordability issue. 1, uncertainty. Americans feel genuinely uncertain about the economy, and a large chunk of that is about AI.
Oh yeah, but like I was saying, the worst thing about it is that conservatives try to explain things. But we've had TikTok brains since before TikTok existed. We have very short attention spans, most of us, because I don't know if it's they put something in our food that gives us all some kind of ADD mentality, but Republicans used to try to explain the merit of certain things, and people just want fast. They want things now. They want that adrenaline boost of knowing that this fucker's going to change things, and things will kick in the second that they say they will. Which they never do, because it doesn't work that way, because we live in a reality where you have to let things flow through the machine before they churn out whatever you're trying to get.
That uncertainty tends to lead to a form of economic revanchism.
But Democrats offer them that.
To halt economic progress and innovation,
even though it's false.
And instead aim to kind of stop things dead where they are and then redistribute. So, if the GOP, if Republicans, if free market conservatives wish to overcome that uncertainty, we have to argue, number 1, that, of course, all economics is uncertain, but AI is a transitional moment. It will radically drive down costs on the other end. That you will, in fact, either retain your job, or your job will become easier, or you will get a new job pretty quickly. Americans are worried about this across the board, by the way. The polls show that 47% of Republicans are concerned about someone in their household losing a job to AI. 61% of Democrats are. 70% of Americans believe AI is going to decrease job opportunities overall. And then when you tie that to the apocalyptic rhetoric of AI founders and creators, who are simultaneously saying that AI is going to destroy the world and also we need to pour more money into AI, Americans feel under threat. Republicans need to explain AI. They do.
That's very true. And they need to basically take people's fears of the data centers and all of everything connected to AI. They need to lay out the good, the bad, and they need to, if any of the negativity that the left points out about these data centers or anything related to AI, they need to, 1, either place them better, give them their own water sources, or we need our own desalinization plants, if possible. But at the same time, we need RAM prices to come down. That's one of the biggest thing, and you will get all the tech bros back if you just bring down RAM prices, because RAM is bringing up GPU prices, bringing up RAM prices, and now I think Samsung, among 2 or 3 other companies, are increasing their prices. I've heard as high as 900%, which is stark and horrifying.
Second, confusion. You have uncertainty and then you have confusion. Americans do not understand how wealth creation and free markets work. And conservatives have spent almost zero time for the past several decades explaining this sort of stuff. They have treated the markets as though the markets are sort of mean and nasty and cold.
So mean.
This goes all the way back to George W. Bush's compassionate conservatism. We don't need Medicare for all. We need Econ 101 for all. You have to make an affirmative case. If you're going to be like President Trump and cite the stock market, you have to explain to people why the stock market matters to them. What does Wall Street actually do for America? The answer, by the way, is that Wall Street invests in every single major business that makes your life better. Wall Street provides the pool of liquidity that probably keeps you employed and keeps your 401k moving up. Wall Street is the pool of capital that allows for growth and allows us to weed out the companies that are underperforming. Now, the supposed illegitimacy of malefactors of great wealth, which is what FDR called it, this has been a populist hobby horse for generations. And while finance and tech continue to grow by leaps and bounds, It's likely to get worse unless people explain how econ works. Okay. Third, corruption. Okay, a lot of Americans believe that the system is corrupt. They are put off by blatant corruption. And we actually have to make the case that corruption is bad on the right. Yes, all corruption, left and right, it's all bad. Because here's what the left does. They say that corruption is happening because of capitalism. But capitalism is not in favor of corruption. Capitalism is about an equally applicable
And this is the
set
important part.
of private property rules that anyone can play by. If you are getting a special benefit from the government, that is not capitalism, that is cronyism. That is corporatism. In some cases, economic fascism. If the government is taking stakes in various businesses, that is not capitalism. That is a form of government interventionism.
Yes, exactly. And this is a similar argument to the argument that I have against communism. Because, one, people think that our current democracy or, what's it, slightly democratic republic, people blame it for the state of the world right now, for the state of our country right now. But that's not the case. It's them slowly but surely implementing bits of socialism and communism, and then also, of course, corruption. It's corrupt people that are ruining our republic, are ruining our democracy. And but that's the main thing. It's corrupt people that are ruining it. It's not the Democratic Republic. It is corruption. And if you think that the government is corrupt, why would you want to cede them more power via any kind of socialist or communist government? Why would we do that? I need to go back to studies for the exams. All right. Hey, it was good to see you, Yunuka. Hey, I messaged Jewpool yesterday after he said he wanted someone to say he needed Peter Griffin's voice to say "Tete." So I sent him a voice message on X, and I guess he was at work, and he said I said "Tete." You know, I could do these voices sometimes. I'm not just jacking myself off when I say that. And he's like, "Oh my God, dude, that was awesome!" But it was kind of cool. I liked it.
Mercantilist trade policy where you carve
But
out
have
your
a good time at
friends,
work, bud,
or
or
corporate
have a good
stakeholders
time
in private
studying.
companies, or your friends, or cronyistic corruption, where friends and family members get the nice sack of cash. That sort of stuff undermines free markets, and it leads the public to conflate those perversion of the free markets with the free markets themselves. This is what happened, by the way, in 2007, 2008. You like the Obama era? The reason that happened is because in the late 1990s, there was a rewrite of government rules with regard to mortgages, and the government started subsidizing subprime mortgages at exorbitant rates. And a bunch of companies took the cash and started subsidizing those subprime mortgages. And when it all went to hell in a handbasket, it wasn't the government that got blamed. It was private industry that got blamed. And you ended up with tremendous government regulation under Obamaism.
Yep.
Corruption needs to be fought by people who care about free markets. And finally, of course, envy. So envy might be the only area where actual affordability matters, like the prices of things matter. Uncertainty will never go away. Confusion is an endemic problem. Corruption will only go away when there's less government involvement in the economy. Envy, that's a normal human thing. Everyone has some level of envy, wanting what your neighbor has. And the rise of social media is creating an unending source of jealousy, right? Because you see somebody who has no job vacationing in the Maldives, and you're like, why can't I do that as well? But, as your lifestyle gets better, you have less pure material envy. So in that area, obviously, affordability matters. But here is the thing. If Republicans wish to win long-term, so we don't just bounce between parties, if Republicans wish to win long-term, it's got to be more than inflation dropping or your lifestyle improving. Right? It's got to
I'm sorry, but his eyebrows make me think that he might actually be a Muppet. Anyway, sorry.
An actual understanding of how the economy works, an actual belief in honesty in the markets, an actual recognition that innovation is good. These are cases that Republicans need to take up again. What an amazing video.
And I got to say, I have a lot more respect for Ben Shapiro of late because he's using the word retard a whole lot. I really do think that he knows that Lord Nux is coming for his title of top Republican Jew, and I think he's scared. I think he's trying to branch out a little bit, and using the saying retard will definitely help him a little bit on that. So anyway, moving over to chat requested.
You ever thought of getting out of here?
What do you mean, Elias?
Getting out there, exploring, and living on what you can trade, steal, salvage, or find. Being free of this place.
Citizens of the stars.
Let me guess, you got a plan. Good evening, investors.
I mean, it doesn't really look like that would have fit, kind of, but sure.
This evening, we will be talking about the next fiscal year, which, based on upcoming technologies, will be our best one yet. Hurston provides, Hurston commands, and Hurston dominates.
God, this is so cool. Like, I want to know what. Like, I've got to talk to some of the guys that I talked to on X, and then I would really like to pick Leaflet or Dong P Bong Water's brain and see what exactly that they put into some of these AIs to get this kind of detail. Like, you have faces here, which is very reminiscent of like a Chronicles of Riddick type sci-fi. Over here you have, God, that's really neat. I mean, the fighting has gotten a lot better. It is a lot better than it was even just 6 months ago, but it still has some trouble. Like, you know the difference between a fight in a movie that they find ways to alter the camera to make it so you know that they're not actually hitting, so you don't know that they're not actually hitting each other, versus the ones where you're like, oh yeah, clearly this is just a dance. That's where we're at right now. Like, right now it feels like it's really just a dance. And once they get that crispness good to where people aren't overlapping, like their bodies aren't overlapping a little bit, and you don't see like any hesitation in some of these punches, and they feel more natural and they flow, I think AI is going to be crazy. I mean, it already is. Oh yeah, I should probably. No, nothing. I don't know what that was. Oh. Yeah, answer him. Answer Space Nepo Hitler. It's not all we got, not Carl Urban. That's Shia LaBeouf. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Not John Hamm. God, look at that. Jump. I mean, don't jump. Like, I really want to meet, like I said, again, Leaflet, Dong P Bong Water, and then some other people who want to make movies but don't necessarily have anything beyond just the vision. They don't have any knack for certain things, but they're really good at describing things. I think we could make some really amazing AI masterpieces. If anyone can make that happen, please do, because this is... Oh, no, nothing. Like, this very much looks like Star Wars. But better, because it's not owned by Disney. Oh, hello, not Mark Hamill.
Yeah, I know where the Hurston family keeps the codes to impassage ships. There's one that I steal from the Hurstons. Why not? They got plenty, and I doubt they'll care that much.
Just sounds like Tectone. I think Dong P Bongwater has wants to give a little bit of his peed bong water to Tectone.
Don't be a pussy, Adrian. Let's make our mark on this place. Fuck it, let's do it.
And just explosion for no reason. All right, dude, definitely like.
I know that look, Elias. You got a scheme you're looking to pull. Can't have you ditch this planet without me. Time to cause trouble.
All right. So that's the new teaser from one Dong P Bongwater. Definitely exciting stuff. Let's move on to... This is basically just Jessica Chastain, the movie. And you'll see why in a second. For those of you that don't know, she was recently in a crappy Apple TV movie, which was basically just online leftist Karen stops right-wing terror because, you know, right-wing terror is the thing we have to worry about in this country right now. Oh, yeah, definitely looks bitchin'.
Hey, sweetie. You're home. I had a lunch break. I thought I'd come home and eat with you. Where's Dad?
He fell asleep in the office. I'll go get him.
Let him sleep. He needs his rest. Cookie dough ice cream for lunch. What kind of mother would I be?
The other one.
How about scrambled eggs?
Sorry, sometimes I forget to pause so we don't get in trouble from things.
What's that for breakfast?
That's right. I forgot. How about pasta?
A little too perfect, I would say.
Your favorite? Do you want to know something silly?
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Sometimes I think about when you and I were one person. Do you remember that?
That's just weird. And like I'm aware of people who actually say like weird ass shit like that. You should be able to. You should have to pass a test to be a parent. I'm sorry. I believe it.
So I was a baby in your tummy?
Do you remember where you were before that?
No.
You were in my heart.
Aww.
Can I go into your heart?
Again, I think this is just Jessica Chastain, the movie. I've heard that she's just the worst.
Don't leave my room.
You seem lonely.
Do you want to die?
Whoa. What were you cooking, Bella? You need a grown-up to help keep you...
Yeah.
Somebody was in the...
Yeah. Yay, burnt pasta. Yeah, no, this looks kind of nuts. Like I'm kind of here for it, but at the same time, I really don't like Jessica Chastain. You could just tell that she's like the worst.
The house.
But this does look intriguing.
She look like you.
What?
You don't have to be scared, Mommy. She's nice. Sometimes she's there, sometimes she's not.
Oh yeah, no. This has been a great year for horror, I gotta say. Like even the slightly disappointing Backrooms. Again, it was slightly disappointing because they didn't do enough with it. But
Is it really you? Are you tricking me? What?
Oh my God, silverware's jumbling. Mommy.
Bella. Hey. It's me. I'm Mom.
Or am I? I am. Or am I? Oh, I'm not. No, she's basically like female Mark Ruffalo, however you want to say his name, the guy that plays the Hulk. Just will not stop talking about politics. Thinks that people like her save the world and only she can save the world, and it's... I might do a video on her one of these weekends.
A new provision championed by Republicans just took effect, which could limit the money
hold on.
available for
I actually want to do this one
Hey,
first.
Here. So in this video, I'm going to be once again talking about the AI-related debate in the VTubing scene. This has been a very hot topic for several weeks at this point.
And this is all over. No, not not your nut. Shut up, Meg. They're gonna do a sequel. Hopefully, we get more. Sequel to what? What happened?
Where a lot of virtue signalers are essentially labeling people as the worst things imaginable for using AI in any capacity whatsoever. At this point, I think it's safe to say we have a serious case of AI derangement syndrome in the VTubing scene. Now, I was going to make a joke based on the...
And people are always screaming about this online. Banana Juju gets a lot of crap about it. Rev gets a lot of crap about it. Of course, Leaflet does. And I know what a lot of you are thinking. Who the fuck is Leaflet? I do want to get that. I need that sound clip just for funsies.
Acronym for the phrase I just described, but it might be a little too spicy for YouTube. You can work that out for yourselves and figure out what I was saying.
Wait,
It
what?
might be a little too spicy. Acronym to being seen. Now, serious case of AI derangement syndrome in the VTubing
AIDS.
scene.
He's talking
Now,
about
I was
AIDS.
going to make a joke based on the...
Oh, no. If they do a sequel to Backrooms, that would be amazing. And my pants are very dorky when I wear them.
Acronym for the phrase I just described,
AI derangement
but it might
system.
be a little too
Syndrome.
spicy for
AIDS.
YouTube. You can work that out for yourselves and
AIDS.
figure out what I was saying.
AIDS.
But that is really what's going on here. We're going to see some really inevitable
He
and
means AIDS.
cringe results of the virtue signaling that we've been talking about coming out in full display. But of course, there's been a lot of lightning rods in this controversy, myself included, with my coverage of everything going on, but also individuals like Leaflet, who provided a free-to-use program that helps bridge
I
the
did.
divide between...
And the sad thing is, it actually looks really interesting. I'm a little skittish to say it's actually good, because originally Clayface was supposed to be connected to the Batman movie, and then the Batman got pushed back because now they want to make another Batman movie that's actually in the DCU. Warner Brothers is a mess right now, man, especially since I think they got bought by Paramount. And I really hope that they put Paramount on HBO Max and not the other way around, because to be completely honest, Paramount fucking sucks. Like, it's probably one of the worst. Paramount and the other one that starts with the P. All right, let me see what it is. Hold on. Literally the worst. Peacock. Yeah, Paramount and Peacock are two of the worst streaming platforms ever. It's fucking awful, man. So I hope that they use HBO's streaming network and not Paramount's, because HBO's actually works. And HBO's is a bigger name. I'm sorry. It just is. So they should merge the two. Give me... Well, I don't think I actually pay for Paramount. I think I'd use the free one, which is why I have ads. And that way I can watch all the stuff on Paramount for free and ad-free.
Between PNG tubing and live 2D, essentially giving people the opportunity to get their VTubing career off the ground for free using AI. We also saw how Skew-chan got roped into this because a related clip from her went viral where she reacted to my video and essentially said she doesn't have a major problem with people using AI. She wasn't even endorsing the usage of AI. She was just saying she doesn't have a big deal with it, and any competent and well-established artist is not threatened by the use of AI. But of course, that was enough to get her brigaded and attacked by the usual suspects. And now today, we arrived
a bunch
at
of
the
assholes.
inevitable conclusion of all...
He's like one of Batman's villains. Oh, no, he's a great villain. He was on the animated series a whole lot, Clayface was. Hold on. Let me pull that up real quick. But no, Clayface... Not Clatface, Jesus. Stupid fat fingers. But yeah, no, this is what he looked like. So the guy there's been a lot of stories behind the origin of Clayface. The most popular one was the one made popular by the animated series in the 90s. Basically, he was an actor who was very vain. And like a lot of actors do, they wanted to stay young forever, so he started using this new product. And the product started making his skin basically clay-like. As far as his powers go, he's a lot like Sandman from Spider-Man, but he can also shapeshift. So his base form is this, but yeah, eventually his face starts falling apart, and he goes and begs. He pays more and more and more for this clay that makes him young and beautiful and solid, and then he goes to the mobsters. I'm pretty sure it's mobsters who he was getting it from, and he's like, "Come on, man, I gotta have more. Come on, man, I'll suck your dick." No, he didn't actually say that, but then they're like, "Oh yeah, you want more of it? You want more of it?" And they basically just, in some instances, they drop him in a vat, but on the animated series, they just kind of poured it down his throat and like just covered his whole body outward and inside with this experimental, genetically altered, basically clay. And he became Clayface, so he can make giant. He's kind of like, more accurately, he's more like a mixture of Carnage from Spider-Man and Morph from the X-Men. He can shapeshift into just about anybody, and he can make like axes and pitchforks and hammers out of his appendages and such. It's kind of intense. Oh, how come I've never seen him before? I mean, I'm not the biggest superhero fan, but I never knew who that is. It's about time DC does anything different other than just Batman and Joker, giving underrated villains more spotlight. No, I completely agree. And that's one of the reasons I was glad that James Gunn was involved. But just like a lot of very talented people, he needs a handler, okay? Like Hannah had Barbera, as Patrice O'Neal used to say. But every great team needs, every great mind needs a wrangler. And the best example of this is Trey Parker and Matt Stone. Trey Parker is understandably the talented one, and Matt Stone is the one that's there to kind of hone and direct Trey Parker's genius when it comes to what they're doing, at least. And everybody needs a teammate like that. And sadly, James Gunn doesn't have one. Either he's surrounded by people who are like, "Oh yeah, that's brilliant, that's fucking awesome," and they aren't good enough friends to tell him when things are fucking stupid. Obviously, you should say it nicer than that, but you kind of get what I mean. But no, Clayface is an awesome villain. I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be more of a kind of like a horror drama in this first one. I know many people don't like him, but I think the Riddler needs his own film. I think they need to start fresh with him. I don't know about a film. I'd say maybe his own episode or a couple of episodes of a larger story. I think it would be cool to have like a whole supervillain backstory episodic adventure on whatever the new streaming service becomes, to kind of fill in the blanks for some of the bad guys that you have in whatever the DCU becomes. Could be cool. You could only really do it for Spider-Man and Batman villains because, honestly, they have the most interesting rogues gallery, maybe Flash villains. But for the most part, I think that'd be a good idea. I would love Joker and Riddler. They, in everything that I've seen, they actually really hate each other. But that's just everything I've seen. I'm not the hugest comic book fan, but I know a lot about it. I watch a lot of Comic Historian. I've read a lot of comics. Watched a lot of the animated things. I actually like the Harlequin show a lot more than I probably should have. But anyway, no, it's really good, and there's a lot of really good lore there. I might actually start doing some lore videos, lore content. I love learning about these things. But I don't know how much input I could actually put on top of it. But again, I could just be here and just like, oh God, man, that's awesome. But I don't know how entertaining that would be. But who knows? I'll give it a try one of these days.
All this virtue signaling, where now we have artists publicly shaming individuals trying to commission them who made the unforgivable sin
Unforgivable.
Of using AI-generated references in their commission request. Not only are they being denied by these artists for doing so, they're now being publicly shamed in the process. We have really reached the zenith of this controversy, and before we get into the topic of discussion for today, let me give you just a quick rundown of what's been going on the last couple of weeks, because this debate about AI usage in the VTubing scene has involved nothing but virtue signaling and shaming people for the simple concept of using it in any capacity.
Well, the Riddler, sorry, in the chat, that's interesting. They seem quite similar talking about the Joker and the Riddler. The Riddler's more reserved. He's calculating. He's pretty subdued. Now, they both are highly intelligent, and they both like to play their games, but the Riddler is more riddle-based, whether it be an actual, like an escape room type riddle, or actual, written riddles. Whereas the Joker is just he's a master of chaos. But no, it's interesting, and the Joker's been portrayed a lot of different ways. Where the Riddler's only been portrayed two ways: cold, calculating, highly intelligent, maniacal. Well, maybe on borderline maniacal, and then also spastic, super goofy Jim Carrey version, which is sadly one of the only ways that people really recognize the Riddler. Which I love that movie. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't the Riddler. Like every time someone plays a bad guy in a lot of Batman movies, it feels like they all just really wanted to be the Joker. Even Tommy Lee Jones, when he was being Two-Face, felt a lot more like he just really wanted to play his own version of the Joker, which just isn't the case. But again, when you're next to Jim Carrey.
It began by people saying that you're no longer a VTuber if you use AI. I guess
that doesn't make any sense. If you use AI to help you make a VTube model, then you're still a VTuber, and you can use AI to make fun little movies. Like, I would love to have some kind of Avengers type scenario where myself, Yanuka, Jewpool, maybe bring in some like Rev, Nuxtaku, where we have like an Avengers Assemble. It'd have to be Ultimate Avengers, because in the end, let's face it, Tectone, Asmon, Nux, what's her name, Powder, and some of them would be the main core of the Justice League, and then the rest of us would be some of your more obscure superheroes. But we're still there, damn it. We're still there.
Stripping someone of their title is what a narcissist like this would think they have the power to do. Then they said using AI makes you a bad person. Then people said using AI at all is a
And again, they say these things, but they don't say why or how that statement is true. It's like, anyone who does this is a bad person. Well, why? Because they're evil. Why? Because some Republicans like it. What?
Political statement. And then they said using AI is not just a political statement, it makes you a Nazi.
Then they yes. Essen means AI.
Said if you're using AI, you're destroying the environment and putting people's lives in danger.
That's not been proven.
Then they said using AI makes you look broke, as these people desperately try to farm.
As they themselves are broke. Let us not forget the starving artist, which let us also not forget that most people who want communism are usually starving artists, people who want to get paid so that they can be shitty little artists. And you know who else was an artist? Hitler. Sorry, that's just being hyperbolic, but that's the same kind of mindset that they have. But let's also not forget that usually the first people that are brutally murdered in most communist regimes are, in fact, the useless people, aka the starving artist. They might keep the successful artist around because they're established and actually good at what they do and well known for it. But all of you starving ones, you will be the first to be purged if your communist utopia ever comes to be. That's not me saying that. That's just how it would be.
Pennies of ad revenue on Twitter, which of course involves them using this blue badge that they're paying to use on.
Which is also hilarious. And let us not forget that Grok is an AI. Grok is on X. And to get this blue badge, you have to pay X. You see where I'm going with this? You are literally contributing actively to AI. You're a hypocrite. You don't know what you're talking about. Go fuck yourself. Sorry. You know who else is an artist that shot herself because she's a fascist? Wait, what? Oh, joking. Okay. She said, you know who else is an artist and shot herself because she's a fascist? My mom. She's joking. But that really got me for a second. I read all the way through it, and then I saw my mom, and I was like, wait, what? Are we learning today?
Platform, which of course funds the AI system on Twitter, which is incredibly ironic. And then we get this result. Now the public shaming of people making simple commission requests.
Speaking of AI, without AI, we wouldn't have my boy Yanuka here completely owning all these people. Right-wingers, when they see a minority in a movie. It's never been about a minority in a movie. And let us not forget, the people who are making this case are the same ones that said, oh, Moana has to be authentic. It is also not like it's about a real place. So is the Odyssey. But it's a false story. It is also a myth. Well, now it is a modern myth, but it is a myth. It's a regular show joke. Oh, okay, I got you. But let us not forget how based our friend Yanuka is.
So this artist decided to make this incredible call-out post, getting nearly 3 million views, and eventually locking the comments, as they always do, saying just had to decline a BEGONE request because the client
this nice
sent
lady
an AI-generated
blocked
reference.
the comments.
How hard can it be? As I will clarify a little bit later, this is a very common practice to provide references using AI. I'll give you a peek behind the magician's curtain here. That is very common in the VTubing scene, but this person is now not only denying the commission request, but publicly shaming anyone for doing this unforgivable sin. And it all plays back to the question, what is the end goal? What is the end goal for these people virtue signaling about AI usage? Because they're saying if you use AI, I'm not going to accept your commission as an artist. And then what are they going to do next? They're going to use AI. So if you want people to hire real artists, why are you turning down people to virtue signal on Twitter? Isn't that very counterproductive to what you're trying to accomplish? But people are dunking on this individual in the replies.
As they should.
Saying this, all this will do is discourage them from hiring artists. Congrats. You did a dum-dum. They probably couldn't afford a reference for a while. Losing clients for no reason is insane. And then they reply with this image right here. And then another user says, LOL, this has to be bait. I really hope you don't go complaining about not having money and getting commissions, because now instead of them using a real artist, they will probably just keep using the AI. You only further people not wanting to work with you and others with this mentality.
Which is 100%
Of course,
true.
if you look at their accounts, commissions open. It's always commissions open. All of the artists virtue signaling about this stuff, there is a 9 out of 10 chance their commissions are wide open because they can't find people to work with because no one wants to commission them. So this person actually gets someone to commission them and they deny them and publicly shame them to get likes on Twitter, virtue signaling about AI usage. Here's
Have fun eating your ramen noodles, not by choice.
another reply saying it's a effing reference, a reference, with 6,600 likes ratioing the initial post. And this person is entirely correct. It's just a reference.
Yes.
Okay, again, peek behind the magician's curtain here. AI references for art commit.
Wow, that's crazy. Like he said, he just over 5,000 likes with almost 3 million views. More, getting towards probably 7,000 likes by now. just 66,000 views. That's crazy.
Missions is very common. And I'm not going to make this really personal or anything, but I've worked with plenty of artists where I provided AI-related references. They accepted those commissions, had no problem with it for years, and now they're joining the bandwagon virtue signaling about AI usage. The irony is incredible, but very expected for people who care about all this virtue signaling and nonsense. Here's another reply.
And again, the only reason I use AI, and like I'm not for or against it, but I can't afford to pay someone to do this. Yeah, no problem. I'll be on for like another 25, 30 minutes anyway. But the main thing is with, like I said, I use AI right now because I can't afford an artist. Most people, of course, they want to be paid for their art. And eventually, like I said, if I ever become anything on here, most of the money that I make from this will go towards just doing this in general, which includes commissioning any kind of artist. I would very much love to have someone make my VTuber avatar, make it from scratch, make it exactly to my specification, because this isn't exactly to my specification. This is as close to what I can get AI to do. Like I said, because I wanted it to look more like the dad from Bleach, but I have a beard. This beard's a little too much, but this is as controlled as I can get it to be without looking shitty. I'm bald. The dad from Bleach isn't bald, but I wanted it to be in that animation style. I wanted him to be the base model, and then him to be dressed basically like Badger from Firefly, more or less. And then it came out, and for the undershirt, I wanted it to just be like a gray or a black beater. And then it came out like this, and I really kind of like this too. And then and then I wanted a little Star of David necklace to identify the fact that I've been beat up for being Jewish, even though I'm not Jewish. And then the necklace didn't look good, so I was like, try a tie pin. So it did it, and then I had to get it centered, and then I put the little skull in there. So this is actually the Death Star of David to commemorate Nux's ship, or the Jews' ship from the Dong Pi Bong Water videos. But yeah, no. A lot of thought went into this, and then the belt buckle I just kind of like, and it kind of, if we ever collab, it kind of links me together with Jewpool, because like I said, that just came about, and then he just happens to have, when he wears his cloak or cape or whatever you want to call it, he has the lion shoulder pads. So I kind of kept that in. Not just for that, because it kind of looks cool. I can't honestly think of anything better to put there, for now at least. So anyway, just breaking that down a little bit.
Saying that's your problem. Don't complain when you lose customers. You lot are so obsessed with AI. He just wanted to show you his idea to an artist because he doesn't have the skills, which is normal given that he's contacting you. Yeah, isn't that the whole point? They're turning to an artist because they're not an artist themselves.
Yeah.
They have no
and it absolutely makes sense. And again, he's only using it to give you kind of the gist of what he wants, and he can say little specifics, just like I just explained how mine isn't exactly what I want it to be. One day I would like to commission somebody to make it more to my liking. Like I said, this is very stylish. Like if in a perfect world, I would be hot like this. I actually don't look that different from this, but my head's a little bigger. But other than that, like I said, I have little nitpicks with it, and hiring an artist who can actually give you what you want, and you can point and click and say, hey, right here in this area, I want the hat to fit. I want it to be tilted back a little bit more. I want the collar to be just as so. I want this to have a little design on it, so on and so forth. I want such and such cufflinks. I want these to not just be weird little baton looking things, but that kind of works because it's it just happens to be a character weapon I have for a character I made in a comic book that I wrote a long time ago.
no way to display what they want from you, so they're using AI to give you a reference point. It's a reference. And yet they do this. Here's another reply saying, LOL, and y'all wonder why people are migrating away from you, insufferable people. And then they reply with this SpongeBob gif, very serious individual, but I would ask them, do you have the rights to this SpongeBob
yeah.
image? Do you have the proper rights to be using this? Oh my goodness.
And again, this isn't an argument. That's not an argument. You're just doing like bully language, like, oh, you crying, bro, you crying. Like, this person is actually trying to, yeah, kind of poke fun at, but also reason with them, showing them exactly why people are having the backlash that they're having. And this person's just like, oh, you're gonna cry, you're gonna squirt some.
But of course, they did the normal thing. They locked the replies, and then they quote themselves saying, free block list, LOL. Thank you for the 2,000 plus people who believe AI has no place in VTubing. Using a commission piece in AI to generate ideas is never okay. There are tons of ways to get references that don't involve AI.
Yeah, but they won't be as specific, and you'll have to do I guess you'll have to do a lot more work. Therefore, you can charge them per hour because you're a piece of shit. It's more efficient to do it that way. And the fact that they want to use it just as a reference and that they would commission you as an artist, it's work. And you're a starving artist. What else are you going to do? You can actually take more jobs and get more word of mouth about you if you're a good artist.
I guess hiring an artist to make you a reference so then you can turn to another artist and use that previous reference to get new art. Yeah, very simple. But this person acts like getting likes on Twitter means you're right, which would mean they're wrong under that logic because they were getting ratioed by so many people to the point of having to lock their replies. But no, you're getting likes from a bunch of activists and virtue signalers. It means nothing. They're hollow. The support means nothing. There's a reason your commissions are still open. It's because ultimately the customers don't really care for your mentality and feel slighted, or they feel hesitant to even want to commission you in the first place because you might publicly call them out over wrongthink while rejecting them. But of course, this is really the most simple way to respond to all of this. You people are so pathetic.
Simple is a good way to describe most of these people.
How much these people hate AI is insane. They hate it more than anything else. I'm genuinely convinced that they hate AI usage more than criminals at this point. I mean, like, tell me if I'm wrong at this point. But let's look at some more virtue signaling posts relating to this topic. Another individual saying, the absolute bliss I feel every time I block a VTuber who thinks using generative AI is in any way justified. AI sloppers named Sir Dumbf, the Dragon Lord, will come here using nothing but slurs to make a point and think I'm not gonna point and laugh, giving me free dopamine when I reply bleh and block you. Ooh, shiver me timbers. This person is quite the tough customer over here. Wow. Look out for this individual. They might say bleh and then block you and get some free dopamine. I'm sorry if you're getting free dopamine from blocking people on Twitter. Seek help. But also, what is this? I mean, what are we doing? Do you really feel that strongly about all this? Like, are you gonna have the same attitude for like a grandma using AI to make like a cat meme or something? But the thing is too, great name. Sir Dumbf, the Dragon Lord? If someone hasn't taken that name already, please go ahead and do so. And also...
Oh, yes. Hello, Sir Dumbfuck.
Feel free to do that. Give yourself a little dopamine rush. Feel good about blocking people on social media. I'm right here waiting for you. Totally good. Go for it. I know it'll help you out. I'm feeling charitable today. I want to give you some dopamine, so go ahead and do that. But here's some more from this individual saying, my fellow VTubers, please don't use
I have a dream.
AI for your content creation. They're speaking like it's a presidential address or something, like you're an artist. Chill out. I will never stop preaching this. Artists are the backbone of the VTubing sphere. If you respect your artists who drew and or rigged your model, then refrain from using AI slop for your other content. There are so many artists on VGen who fit to any type of budget, and if you don't have anything to spend, then there are also so many wonderful free resources and assets created by hardworking artists for you. Respect your artists and stop using AI that gets fed with stolen art. It's funny how they always say, go find free resources, but not like that when they turn to something like legal.
Look, I sympathize with that. But I would very much like to do things like this show for a living, so that I could spend more time on them and make them better. But I have to work a full-time job, so it might not be in the cards unless I just luck out one day and I say something incredibly based and it goes viral. It's just the reality of it. You have to be willing to accept that. Being a starving artist, sure, it seems like a noble career path. But then if you cry that you're starving because you haven't got the attention that you feel you deserve, or you might actually deserve, then you're just going to be some homeless dude who had a dream once. Okay? You have to support yourself. And, you know, sometimes you have to, like Grandma Parker said, you have to be steady. And sometimes you have to give up the things you want the most. Or at least put them on the back burner so that you can eat. Or if you have a family, to support your family. And it sucks, and you might not have the time to do the things that you want to do, but that's just life. But you got plenty of time to go out and protest and have a little bit of anarchy time to try to get the world to your retarded-ass communist utopia. More than likely.
Right? They don't mean just use whatever free resources you can. It's only the approved ones that fit their narrative. But ultimately, if you go to this user's account and you start searching through the following list, you see a lot of names, including VTubers have no issue with using AI whatsoever. But of course, you get the inevitable follow, which is Veedle. Yeah, that was a big topic of conversation with the leaflet arc of all this, where she is criticizing people who are virtue signaling about AI usage but still support neurosema, and they try to convince you every which way that it's completely different. But these people, they don't stand on their morals. They follow people who use AI or have it as a part of their content, and well, is that really surprising? But here's Madame Savvy with a reply to this artist saying,
Madame Savvy is
really
incredibly
work
based.
For you? I'm a career artist, and seeing this constantly is annoying. Just draw. Just go hire people. You don't need a virtue signal daily. The people who are going to hire artists are going to keep doing it. The people who look for alternatives were always going to do it. But it really does feel like you type just use artists as goodwill points. Instead of bitching about AI, why don't you make promotion posts about other artists? But you...
I have a dream. Leftists, yes, we know. Revenge. Hold up. No, wait, that's not what I meant. Of course it's not.
You mentioned you care about engagement with
Charge
the blue
complete.
check. Of course
God, I
you
need a
do.
new headset.
You're a business. And you know, posts promoting artists never get the same kind of attention as posts like this. And that is a very good point.
Yeah.
All of these people who condemn AI and say support real artists, they never make an actual effort to promote real artists. All they do is shame people for using AI. They don't.
And a lot of these people don't even have examples of their glorious art on their pages. Because a lot of them aren't actually artists. A lot of them are just people trying to virtue signal for their artist friends who honestly probably use AI on a couple of things here and there.
Don't actually provide a solution or anything that helps their supposed cause. It's all about shaming. It's all about cloud farming. And again, blue check mark every single time. You're literally paying Twitter for that badge so you can farm ad revenue through your tweets, through engagement, and you're funding AI. You're funding Grok, which creates generative AI. If you stood on your principles, you would not pay for this blue check mark. You would not give Elon Musk in this platform your money every month if this is truly how you feel. But of course, let's get one more, just showing the pathetic nature of this entire situation. This artist says, stop using AI for your games and art. Hire real artists. Yep, just like that, AI was completely defeated and all the artists have been supported. Now, of course, they got a lot of backlash, and what did they do? Oh, they locked the replies, as you can see.
Imagine.
But one of their mutuals said, "Whoa, you made a hit tweets." And then they replied, with the replies locked, saying, "The AI supporters trying to attack me, Pookie," which is hilarious. First of all, look at the discrepancy in the number of likes. 16 replying to a response on their own tweet. The initial one getting 8,800. 8,800 versus.
And hold on,
16.
let me see.
Isn't this rich?
Valix.
This person picks a fight and then immediately becomes.
I'm not gonna
the
harass them.
victim
I'm just gonna
of
look
their
and see
own
how many.
Situation that they created, saying they're being
Okay,
attacked.
so this is a twink.
You threw the first punch. Now you're crying and locking.
So they got 16 likes and they've got 2,500 followers.
On you. Many such cases, ladies and gentlemen. But like I said, there's a real case of AI derangement syndrome going on in the VTubing scene. And if you don't like AI, that's fine. But this level of just nauseating virtue signaling and often very hypocritical virtue signaling is something that should be mocked, something that should be talked about. And I have absolutely no qualms about doing so, right? That's why we're here. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed, please consider giving the video a like, consider subscribing and turning on notifications for daily uploads, as well as multiple streams every week live here on YouTube. But overall, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Hey, what's up, guys?
And not exactly on the same wavelength here, but great idea for socialists. The Actors Union would be a perfect place to try socialism. An actor earning $20 million could redistribute their wealth to give hundreds of struggling actors a living wage. Let's give it a try. Put your money where your mouth is. Mark Ruffalo, however the fuck you say that name. And let's do that. All you Hollywood elitist actors, how about you try a little bit of socialism in your own sphere? How about you give money to people like, what's her name? Navarette, the girl from Obsession. She was only paid $20,000 for her fantastic portrayal of a possessed, quote-unquote, girlfriend. She did a fantastic job. Not since Sally Field or Sean Young have I seen that kind of mental illness portrayed on screen. How about we share some of your wealth? But you won't do it. But that's my money, right? It's always funny to see some of these rich people trying to get poor people to share, trying to get people who make 1% of their income to share, while shitting on billionaires because they're jealous of how much they have. Well, we're jealous of how much you have. So Mark Ruffalo needs to shut the fuck up in general. All actors, and again, I take the Ricky Gervais stance when it comes to this. Go up there, thank your God and your producer and whatever, and shut the fuck up. You have no idea what common people even think, because you live in your own personal bubble. He didn't say this exactly, but this is where I'm saying with this. I used to be very envious of rich people, and I had a few avenues at some points to become one of these elitist actors. But I passed. Just because I had this or that I already had to do, and I try to be a man of my word as best as possible. So it didn't work out, and I'm kind of glad it didn't, because yes, I would have had a bitchin' life and a lot of fun, a lot of whatever, and I'd have a lot of stuff. But God only knows who I would be if I had succumbed to that kind of thing. I would probably be a useless twat bitching on TV and online, which I kind of already am, but but I'm very self-aware. No, but I would be talking about things that I know nothing about, instead of having a life full of experiences that kind of give me a little bit of insight when it comes to a lot of these subjects. But anyway, guys, that's going to be all for today. I got to get out of here, get ready for work. Thank you all for coming by. Man, we had a big turnout today, at least for this show. I like to think my usuals, Angie and Yanuka, for coming by. I'd like to thank everyone who's popped in and out. Guys, if you would, just drop a like on whatever platform you are. It really, really helps me out. But, God, it's been a really good week. This week has been a really good week for the show. We've got all kinds of views, especially on Kick. At least a lot more than we normally get, so I very much appreciate that. If you like what you see here, or if you're visiting from bullshitting with me on X, hey, what's going on? Jupil, it's nice to see you. You might be here. I don't know. I can't tell who's on here unless they comment. But thank you for all the engagement, even the spammers. I still appreciate it. But until next time, guys, this is Alfie Animus for the Associated Game.